Okay. Now, several people have had problems getting onto Zoom, and part of that is that Zoom itself, at least on my end in my account, somehow decided to change its layout. So uh, that accounts for some of the confusion getting in tonight. Also, I use a URL shortener in the messages that I send out about, click here to log on. And for
Mhm.
some people, including me tonight, there was a little pop-up message that said, do you want to go on uh, to the full URL or something like that? So that was another little change that kind of dropped into things. But that's, keeping up with the technology is just incredible. So anyway, I think we're here. I heard from, let's see, several people, who said they wouldn't be able to attend tonight. Frank Unger was one of them, and then Jim Blanchard was not going to be able to attend, but then the weather canceled whatever he was up to, and so he's stuck with us tonight.
Ah, good, good.
So that's where we are as of right now. Now, just to update guys, I had that surgery, open heart surgery, October 1st.
Mm.
And what started out as a triple bypass ended up with a quadruple bypass.
Oh, Jesus.
What happened was the uh, plan A was to go into my chest and open up the rib cage and everything, and then take a vessel out of that open area. Well, when they did
Mhm.
that, they discovered that the vessels up there weren't good enough to really use in the bypass. So then he went into my leg and took a vessel out of there.
Mhm.
And then while the chest was open, he decided to, the original plan was to do just uh, two of they were going to just kind of hollow out there were three, well, actually, all four vessels were clogged in one way or another. And number four was not clogged enough. They figured they could get by there without having to get in there and work on that one. But then they decided while the chest was open, it may as well make it do all four vessels at the same time. So it started out with three vessels, ended up with all four of them. So that's what
Well,
happened.
that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. How long ago was that, Bill?
October 1st.
Okay.
And so things are healing up pretty well. I'm very mobile now. I've
Hmm.
started the cardiac rehab portion of the whole treatment, and that's another, could
Yeah.
be 6 weeks.
I'm with that too. Yeah.
Oh, so I just started on that, and so it actually feels good to get some supervised exercise in, which
Yeah.
I'd
Hmm.
always been just kind of walking around on my own, but actually sitting down with somebody who knows the equipment and knows what you need to do is really helpful in the whole process. So anyway, I'm back, and things are going pretty well right now. So that was
That's
the end.
good.
That
You're not hurting any, are you?
Pardon?
You're not hurting any, are you?
Well, it's still a little sore in the chest area.
Mm.
Sometimes when I cough or sneeze or something like that, that it's
Mm.
still a little sensitive up in there, uh, uh, but beyond that, things are in. When I think
Mm.
back of how miserable I felt October 1st and 2nd, to the first couple, week in there afterwards, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
geez, I swear. Um, The only person I heard from a couple of you guys who had some experience with uh, open heart surgery, and who was I think it was, can't even remember. Was it Norb? I think was it your wife that had it?
Yeah, my wife had quadruple bypass surgery
Oh, okay.
almost 7 years ago,
Yeah,
and
right.
she's doing great as far as that
Yeah.
goes.
Wonderful.
It's interesting you talked about the pain. She had no pain at all through the whole thing, and
Oh my gosh.
and during the recovery.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. I didn't have any pain either. Oh, I don't know what the doctors did, but nothing hurts. Nothing hurts.
And she has hardly any scar.
Ah, so the only one that heard from Pete Garthe, he said he had triple bypass a few years back. So I'm kind of relying on other people's experiences and what they how leading up to the whole thing. I didn't have anybody really that I could talk to about what to expect or what.
Uh,
With me, the complicating factor was having diabetes, and they had to keep a track of glucose
yeah. Yeah.
and kind of build the meals around having to get the right combination of glucose in you. And it seems like they were just kind of experimenting with the first round of meals was just huge. I mean, I didn't feel like eating it anyway, but then they put this huge platter of stuff down there, and I just couldn't. I mean, it was way more than I would even beforehand was eating. So, and I'm the good soldier. I just tried to eat everything that was there, and then that increased the glucose. And at one point, they had to send me back to the first aftercare or the what do they call it, intensive care, because they were the only ones that could handle a drip insulin. And so back to the where I started out, and they ended up we got a endocrinologist actually involved, and they were able to straighten out the whole issue of how much insulin I should be given and how much food. And it turns out they agreed that they were way overfeeding me. And so that it took probably a few extra days in there trying to get that worked into the equation. So anyway, that was my experience over the last, gosh, it's 2 months now. Holy mackerel!
I suspect that your diabetes has a big factor, is a big factor involved with your pain and rehabilitation and all that. My wife did not have diabetes.
Yeah, yeah. I heal slowly anyway. I think it's the diabetes for years. I mean, that's always been my stub a toe or slice your finger. It takes a long time. What other people would not be a major problem, and ends up being much more enduring. So anyway, that's what I have been up to for the past couple of months.
Did you have diabetes when you were a kid?
No, I developed it when in fifth year at the seminary.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, 19 Thanksgiving of 1965 is that spell when I was out for from Thanksgiving through January 1st.
Wow. Okay.
And that's when all things in the seminary were kind of undergoing big changes, and
right.
The students and the parents were getting upset with what was going on. I come back after being away from that whole thing, and holy mackerel. It wasn't the place that I remembered leaving. So anyway.
So were you under Sister Christopher's care?
No, actually, looking back on things, let me pause right in there. Jim, when I started looking at the student bulletins, it gave a list of faculty and staff and administration, and there was in most of those there was a sentence or two in there that said that it sounded like a family of doctors was available to the staff. That's the first time in that I had even heard that there was a doctor or doctors available to and as part of the infirmary operation. I never saw anybody during the 6 years, and especially that last thing with diabetes. Nobody saw me, and no doctor saw me at that time. And I was trying to remember. I can't remember how I managed to get my insulin. I didn't, Sister Christopher and the infirmary staff weren't involved at all. So I must have somehow, my hunch is that they might have stored some of the insulin in the kitchen refrigerators, and somehow I would have gotten it to, take shots in my room over in St. Henry's, but I can't, that's sort of a blank in there. Those were the times before they actually had disposable insulin syringes. The syringes would have had to have been either just left soaking in alcohol and to just haul them out whenever I would. The long and short of it is I kind of figured out how to get to survive that last 6 or 8 months of seminary life. And I don't know. There were a couple of guys that were involved in working with Sister Christopher, so I don't remember if any of them had ever been involved with whether there were other students in their history over there that had to deal with diabetes. But I had minimal, zero, if not just some involvement with the infirmary staff. The only change was with kitchen, I got served whatever the faculty was being served. So, when the food was getting passed out, they would come over to mine, and before anybody else arrived on the scene, they would just, the sisters would put down my plate, and so it's kind of awkward sitting at a table where everybody else was getting what were they called, grease bags, and I was getting.
I like those.
Jeez.
So I have a question. Thank you, Bill, for sharing all that. Did you give yourself your own shot?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And the other question I had is, you mentioned the doctors, and I had totally forgotten about that myself, but I remember reading in the bulletin back in the 50s that there was a doctor on, not on staff, but on call to help us. So I probably the same family. There were three.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
There were three doctors.
They were the Molesky brothers, as I recall.
Oh, okay.
Molesky brothers, whatever.
In my 4 years as infirmarian, I never saw any of those people.
Yeah, I didn't either, Dick, because I was in the infirmary as well.
Okay.
And during my era, there was never anyone who was diabetic either.
Well, that's because
Right.
we're all healthy. We didn't need doctors.
Well, maybe that's because we were there.
That's a good theory.
Yeah.
One of the
Funniest thing, this is a
freshman
little
year.
bit gross, but the funniest thing I think that ever happened is that Sister Christopher was, she had arthritis and that, and she would walk in the halls, and she'd put her hand on the door. And one time the door caught it, and it clipped her finger, like with her fingernail. And when that happened, somebody came running in, and asking for the finger. And because I thought they may have wanted to save it, I don't know. But they went into the wastebasket because I don't know what. So anyway, she got over that. But one of the most bizarre things that ever happened is that it was like in the spring, and Pete Thalen and he was kind of a little guy, and somebody else, they were playing baseball, and they ran into each other. And it happened that Pete kind of got knocked out, and they took him to the infirmary. And Sister Christopher was going to give him something. You know, he was kind of I don't know, like reacting like he was drunk or something, and she was going to give him a pill to knock him out. And I thought that, why would you want to do that? He could choke on it. And then this is kind of gross, but he was chopping his teeth and he almost bit her finger. And it took about, and I don't know if you recall Pete Thalen, he was a little guy, real strong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think he was like third year. And it took 4 guys to hold him down. He was so convulsive in that. And eventually everything worked out. But I'll never forget that. It was kind of a comedy scene because no one was ever really prepared for something like that.
Yeah.
And afterwards, everything was okay. I guess, I never heard much about it or anything. And she never really talked about people much. She kind of had her own feelings about people and how she felt about them a little bit, but she never really said much. But you could tell by the way she, reacted sometimes. I know when a lot of the first year students would come in and say, sister, every time I breathe, it hurts. Well, don't breathe. That was her. They couldn't. They were kind of stunned because they couldn't believe that was her humor. But she was a wonderful woman, though. In my opinion, really wonderful woman.
Yes.
Yeah, but someone with a head injury, you really don't want them to go unconscious. You don't give them something to put them to sleep. You want to keep them.
I know I don't disagree with you, Bill, but I couldn't believe that she was trying to put a pill in his mouth. I don't disagree with you. I mean, it took 4 guys to hold him. I'll never forget because he was superhuman strong. I remember that. And we're on that terrazzo floor in the infirmary. Jeez.
Another sort of infirmary horror story is I don't know, some of you, I know Norb Bufka remembers now I lost his name. He is in Saginaw. Howley. Is it Howley?
Chuck Howley. Yeah, he was from Essexville. He's a really good skater.
Right. Well, he was telling me that somehow whatever he was doing, he broke. I can't remember whether it was an arm or a shoulder bone or whatever. And the rector said, they gave him bus fare, and they said, "Here, go down to this office, and they'll take care of you." Oh Lord! I mean, that was
by himself.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Here, take a bus somewhere, and oh Lord, it's amazing when you stop and think about the number of people that were in that building on the grounds in the seminary at any given time, and so few of them ended up without having any really serious problems. The only other one was what was that guy who on senior day that ended up drowning?
Yeah, that happened 2 years, I think,
1960.
before Norb graduated.
Yeah, 1960. What's his name? Starts with a K.
Kaiser? Was
Yes.
it Kaiser?
Yeah, Kaiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't get to. The reason I remember that is because we on our senior day, we didn't get to go to the beach.
Yeah.
We were not allowed to go.
That was really catastrophic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was his first name?
I don't
Kaiser.
Paul?
What was
I
Kaiser's
said Paul
first?
Kaiser, but I don't know if there was another Kaiser.
No,
I didn't know him.
Yeah, what was his first name?
I was going to say Paul, but I don't know if that's right.
That doesn't sound right.
I don't think it was he.
No.
I mean, Paul.
Anyway, yeah.
I remember on our senior day,
A John Kaiser?
that sounds
sounds
more
right.
like it.
He's from Muskegon.
That makes sense.
That sounds right.
Hi, Pete.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we
we
can
can
hear
hear
you
you too.
Welcome aboard.
And Norb, Pete Garthe has joined the group here.
Thanks. Hi, Pete.
Yeah.
Hi, Norm.
And Pete, for your information, Mike Murphy can hear and be heard, but we can't see him.
Okay.
He's the voice of heaven.
I know. I think it was just me pushing the wrong button. That's all.
Yeah.
I'll bet you it was that. But I
Still,
can hear you really, really well.
Okay.
Mike, do you still live in Williamston?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it. There's a story behind that. I went all after at the seminary, all for the world. You know, I was at Baltimore. I was lots of places. Presidio of Monterey.
Ah,
Wow.
Yeah. I was in the army.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in the army. You know, when you go into the army, they run you through some tests to see what you can do. And I scored well on foreign language, and they taught me Chinese.
oh my gosh.
Well, the language school's in Pacific Grove.
Yes, I know
I've
it
been there
very
a couple
well.
times. That's a great place
Really?
to visit.
Yeah.
So where were you stationed?
He's in the Presidio.
This is another straight here. Well, after DLI, the Defenders Language Institute, I don't know. I volunteered to I say it here. To officer candidate school.
OCS.
Yeah, OCS. Yeah. And what had happened? You know, I was all set to go. You know, it was 20th week of 25th there. They all got us. They all came to us. Got us into they got us all together here, and they said Vietnam is they're going back. We're not going to have. We're not going to set that many officers for DLI, and so they said, "We'll make you a deal. You make you a deal. You resign for the army and give you back right after." It probably saved my life.
You know what,
I'm sure
Mike?
it saved my life.
You know what, Mike?
Yeah.
The very same thing happened to me.
Really?
I was in Fort Sill, Oklahoma,
Uh-huh.
and ready to get commissioned as in field artillery. And
Oh, okay.
and we were given a deal because you have a contract
Mm-hmm.
of being
Yeah.
in the service.
Yeah.
Anyways, I already had 1 year in, and they said, okay, you're gonna get your grade, which I had as E5, which is a pretty good grade for being that.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And you could have a choice of duty stations. So I chose two things. I chose Germany because I wanted to see Europe. And then I also chose Japan because I figured, well, that was getting to be big in that. And I ended up 1 year in Hawaii.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was like like you're saying,
Easy, can you stand that? I mean, yeah.
I was so fortunate. I mean, it was like, I don't want to rub it in, but it was like being it was being like on a job.
And Uncle Sam paid the bill.
Right. I made money on it. Plus I got the GI Bill.
Yeah.
It was literally a godsend.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Can I make a comment here about
Please.
Pope? This is going to change a little bit. I was fortunate to get a job for 6 months and teach guidance and counseling courses for Wayne State University. This came through the University of Michigan. And I was going to teach Air Force personnel. And they footed the whole bill, my living and travel and that. And one place was Turkey and the other place was Italy. And I want to comment on Turkey. Now, Stas, I know you can relate to this a little bit. At the time, I was at an Air Force base that had no airplanes. And it watched satellites go around. This is when Kennedy had all of that. And I was literally on the Sea of Marmar. And they had we call it a travel house that they had shipped back from Austria. And that's what I lived in. And I lived on a golf course. And it was the only golf course in the whole country. I mean, the golf course went right up to the Sea of Marmar. I don't know if you recall there's a movie called Midnight Run about a guy in Turkey that got caught for drugs. That was very close to where I was at because all the ships went up to Istanbul. But what I didn't realize is that area was kind of the original capital of Turkey. And while I was there, maybe very close, when I mean, a mile, a couple, maybe 2 or 3 miles, not very far, was the church where they actually met for the Nicene Creed. And when I saw it, I actually saw that all I saw was just the foundation was left of that.
Yeah.
And that's where the Pope was just recently. And I was stunned. I mean, like, wow, there were no signs or any kind of notation or anything what this was.
Well, in Turkey, you probably wouldn't have it anyway.
Well, more or less, you're correct on that. But the town was called Iznet, I guess. They always used to talk about it. I didn't know what the heck they were talking about. But I was mostly in an area where they were raising sheep and growing peaches. It was kind of an interesting experience, and I felt.
So, do you know, any of you know when the Council of Nicea was?
It's 500 and something AD.
Nope, 325, 1,700 years ago this year.
1700. Okay, 325. I know it was quite early in the church. But it really gives you a perspective. And the only other thing I can tell you is that I remember walking in Istanbul into the Church of Hagia Sophia, and I walked in and my mouth dropped. I had never seen anything like it in my life. It was so huge. It was kind of moving.
Yeah.
I wrote a book about Nicene Creed in case anybody's interested.
Oh, great. I'm glad you told me to get it corrected. I didn't.
Yeah, that's why I know when it was.
I'm going to look and see if I have that picture. I can send it to you and put it in your next edition. Huh? Your upgrade.
I'm not planning on changing that, but yet that's a good intro, that's a good intro to something I'd like to propose to you. You know, I wrote a book about St. Joe's, but I was ever since, well, even before I published it, I felt that your time in the seminary was, I neglected that. Not neglected, that's the wrong word, but I didn't have much information about that. So my proposal is, now that you have access to a lot more information right online on our website, if you want to update that, revise it, put out a second edition, I'll help you with it. And I'll give you full permission to use my book. Don't jump all at once. So I was just thinking about
Really? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We can do a whole
The best
book
of times, it was the worst of times.
Right.
We could do a whole series of books on updating Norb's books.
Right, that's true.
You know, it's speaking of updating the book. Jim Blanchard got a document from Angela Yondo in the Detroit or the Grand Rapids archives. Do you want to explain what that document was that you got from her?
Well, all of you remember the old seminary bulletins that they would publish each year, where it would list faculty members, the curriculum,
Right.
what our schedules were, all the students, their names and where they were from. Well, I think it was after 74, 75 year, we couldn't find anything beyond that. And Angela has documents and records in lots of different places, and things continually come into the archives. And she was able to find it was a document similar to the bulletin. I think it was an attempt to kind of replicate it. It wasn't the normal semi-bound type publication that we were accustomed to, but it showed, I think it was the 76, 77 year, and it was slightly different, but that was the last one we were able to find, and that's when it had already converted to the preparatory school.
Oh,
That's what I was going to ask you. It was just a high school then.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And it was, if you say prep school, that means they could date.
Yeah, they called it
I'm
St.
serious.
Joe's Preparatory Seminary, but they didn't call it a minor seminary like they had always done.
Oh, I see.
Traditionally.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. The
Isn't
reason I
that-
asked,
in Europe they had those, didn't they?
I'm sorry.
Europe kind of had that model at one time, I wonder. I thought Father Fay might have talked about it.
Oh, I don't remember.
Or like on the East Coast, they had that kind of designation. I mean, it started out there, and I think they expanded it, the boys' school, to all boys or something like that.
Sure. What I remember reading about St. Joe's is in the final years, the boys there could date. So when I asked that question, somebody laughed, and I understand why you laughed. I was surprised too when I read that.
Well, I thought this is sort of what I gathered in from your book, Norb, that the whole gist of the preparatory school was, instead of just focusing on a vocation as in the seminary or in the priesthood, that the guys were given options, or were helped or guided along trying to think of other ways that they could be in service, and so that's what when I saw the document that Jim had uncovered, or that Angela had uncovered. That's what initially thought I was thinking of, that it seemed, and I haven't read the thing in its entirety, and I plan to publish it in the next edition or so, to see if other people have some thoughts in there. I thought that it was sort of an explanation of the whole concept of a seminary not being solely for the training of and education of candidates for the priesthood, but there were other vocations or callings that they could be considering during that preparatory schooling. Does that sort of sound like what was?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And one of the things that was interesting to me, and certainly it would kind of pique your interest, because all of you had much more language than I even had when I was there, and they only had 2 years of Latin, as opposed to, how many did you have? 6?
6.
We had 13
And you
years
had
of
Greek as well.
language study.
So they had 2 years of Latin, and then they would have, I think they offered 2 years of Spanish. But most of the faculty for that particular year, 76, 77, they were lay people. They were not priests from the diocese.
Okay. Yeah, by then Latin wasn't important.
Neither was Greek.
Well, yeah, I know.
Well, I noticed that one, it's Father Don Haydn's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was on the faculty in those final years in there. So I thought I'd kind of see if he had anything to offer to the explanation of what was going. Just a little bit of background in there. What started me on this roll was I got that an email message from somebody, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. It was in the last update. He was in the class of
Was it 78, 79 or something?
78, 79, yeah, and it was 81 when the seminary officially closed. So he was in that last grouping of students, and so that kind of piqued my interest. And I told you that I would just make a note of that and see if there were anybody else that had any information about those final years and what was going on in there, because they didn't publish. Well, after whatever it was, 74, I don't think it was the last yearbook that was published. So the actual final years were areas where we hadn't seen any documents. The only information we had to go on was what Norb had written in his book about what was kind of going on. So anyway, those two things kind of happened at the same time. So,
in September of 76, they had 37 students for the 4 years of high school.
Is there I don't think he's alive now, but there was a guy named Mitch.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like he'd have a wealth of knowledge. I don't think he's alive.
Oh, no.
I doubt it. He was old when we were there.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, he would have knowledge of where some of the resources would have been, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true, but they would be gone now.
I suspect, unless they shipped him to the diocese. I don't know what they did with him.
Well, Dennis Morrow had a lot of records at his office that he did not transferred to the diocese yet. Because I would go to his office and work on documents
Oh, I see.
as well as the diocese.
Well, now that church is being put to bed. St. Peter and Paul.
Not yet.
Oh, yeah, right.
But
Not
I mean,
yet.
it's in the process.
Yeah.
You might
Whenever
want
The
to.
other one.
Whenever
Saint-
the priest who's signed there, when he retires, then they'll be closing it.
What's the other one? Is there another one on the west side?
Yes, and
St. Mary's? I don't think so. That's a German parish.
no.
Well, St.
Can't be
Stephen's
St.
is pretty well
James.
closed.
Pardon me?
St. Stephen's is pretty closed.
Really?
Hmm.
They merged
yeah.
with St. Thomas.
Hmm.
Really?
Wow. St. Thomas is closed?
No,
Yeah.
he said
St. Stephen's.
St. Thomas is my parish.
Okay.
They want the
But
parishioners.
I can't
from-
believe St. Stephen's is closed. Wow,
I think-
thanks, Pete.
I think they have one mass a week there, maybe,
Huh. Wow.
but no pastor.
Holy smokes.
Going back to the records, Jim or somebody, you may want to check with Angela if she got all the records from Dunn's office after he passed. Yeah,
I'll ask her, Norb, but my guess is that she has.
I bet she has too. Yeah, and just
Stas
hasn't
was pretty
maybe hasn't
thorough. He was pretty thorough.
and maybe hasn't organized them yet. Even, I mean, because that's not her full-time job, is it?
It's part-time. She also works at the Catholic cemeteries for Grand Rapids.
Okay. Okay.
I have a news break.
All right.
Moore is being detained by the police in Saline, Michigan. It's right by my house.
Who is?
Sharon Moore. He got fired today from the court.
Oh,
Now he's being detained by the police.
oh my gosh.
Who is?
He's U of M's football coach.
Was.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
About 2 weeks ago, it's ironic, I was kind of his bodyguard.
Ah.
He was there with his 3 daughters and family. Now he's being taken care of by the Saline police. That's amazing.
Should have done a better job.
Oh, geez.
That's too bad.
Yeah, it is.
I thought, and until what you, Dick, you had just mentioned, I thought it was more related just U of M policies about, dating or people that were underneath your area of that it didn't have anything to do with criminal behavior.
Well, I don't know what this is. He might have gotten tied one on and gotten a fight with somebody. I don't know. I don't know where he lives, so.
No,
But it's not very far.
The
Sorry,
news said
again?
he had an inappropriate relationship with a staff member,
Right. Yeah, that's
and that's kind of like what the Michigan State coach a couple years ago got fired for,
right.
which is kind of interesting. Both of them fired for the same reason. Anyway, getting back to the Nicene Creed, I hate it. I hate it. I don't recite it anymore at Mass.
Oh, I don't either.
It's basically was drafted in 325 as a reaction to Arianism, and it's all dogma, all this dogma stuff. I
Right.
wish we would recite a belief that we Christians really believe in positively, like our virtues or our ethics. We believe in being kind to people. We believe in helping the poor. We believe all those kind of beliefs. Why get into reciting about whether there's one God and whether Christ came from was the same God, and whether there's a Trinity and all that kind of stuff? Anyway, I don't like it.
I know. I don't either after I wrote the book.
Here, Pete.
No, I really don't like it after the new translation. Consubstantial with the Father. What
Oh,
was
yeah.
wrong with one in being with the Father? Anyway, Richard Rohr has a comment about the Nicene Creed. Let's see, how does the wording go? Born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate. Okay, so between born of the Virgin Mary and suffered is a comma. And that's his entire 3-year ministry in a comma. Going along with what you were saying. It's about doctrine and dogma, not Jesus and his life and ministry, which is what's important.
That's right.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
We got all those lawyers arguing then.
Well, Constantine is one who did it, you know. He called the council.
Who's that?
Right. Right.
Emperor Constantine.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, we don't recite the Nicene Creed in our parish. We recite the Apostles' Creed.
You know, that whole issue of parishes closing is taking place in the Detroit Archdiocese right now. They just had a big announcement, I think last week, about how
Right.
going to be a lot of changes, especially, you know, they're running out of priests.
And money, probably.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So going to see much more of that. I mentioned this some time back in the when we were in our first alumni Zooms. It seemed to me that somewhere in the recent past that actuaries should have been looking at this whole, or probably were, and saying, you know, the way things are going, we're going to run out of priests pretty soon. And so you as the church need to start looking at that whole issue. I'm just guessing that somebody did that or said that.
Mhm.
And nobody was paying attention until, well, all of a sudden they find out, well, we lost another priest, and that means we don't have anybody to fill that particular parish, and now it's on a steamroller, right, it seems to me.
Well,
Mhm.
I think people in the church were doing that. They were examining the situation, trying to figure out what to do, and then they didn't come up with a viable solution. Because when we were in the seminary, well, when I was in the seminary, even more than when you were, there was a heyday of seminarians. It was a popular thing, and maybe that's the wrong word, but to be in the seminary. And that's not true today. There's not a going to a seminary or becoming a priest is not a popular thing to do. And that's only one very minor issue in the whole discussion, but that's part of what's going on. And part of it is celibacy, as you all know, and part of it is why don't we allow women to be ordained?
Well, they just put the kibosh on it yesterday.
I know, I read that.
Doesn't make any sense.
That was deacons, which is
Yeah, but I mean,
well-
still participation.
right. But that's totally contrary to Scripture. I don't understand why that commission is not aware that Phoebe was a deacon. Phoebe is mentioned by Paul as a deacon in the New Testament.
Okay. If I could have my 2 cents for this myself. I've said it about it, I've say it again. If priests could marry, you wouldn't have a problem. You know, like Amar, you know.
Well, Amar knew he was going to be married, I think, when he was. I went to grade school with Joe Amar, but he knew he was going to be married when he was in the seminary, too.
No, he's not married. He's not married.
I thought he was.
Marry. I think he could marry Pete.
Okay, well, I saw something that.
He could have married. That's right. He could have married.
Maybe I got it wrong. I don't know.
The Lansing Diocese had no ordinations this past year.
Neither did Grand Rapids.
Same thing?
Same thing.
This coming year, they're going to have 3.
Right.
Where's this, Grand Rapids?
Grand Rapids.
Okay.
And I'll ask a loaded question. What kind of priests are they?
Yeah.
Do you really want to know, Norb?
Yes.
Yes, I think we do.
Let me ask a follow-up question, if I may.
Sure.
you guys had more exposure to the old Latin Mass than I did. I had it when I started to be an altar server, but it was just for a few years. If you had the chance, would you go back to the Latin Mass?
Absolutely not.
No.
No.
Uh-uh.
That was my impression too. But a lot of at least in Grand Rapids, the new priest that we have, there's this fantasy with saying Mass in Latin and you're
Right.
back to the people. And I'm thinking, like, what's wrong with this? You're going backwards.
Right. Yeah, I think I thought about that a lot over the years. And part of the fascination, I think, with younger people, because they have no experience. A lot of people that are going to the Latin Mass are young people that have not had the experience like I did or you did in actually going to Latin Mass. I think there's something about the mysteriousness of it all. And that's not all bad, but I think they're missing what being Christian is all about by being fascinated by the Latin. So
Norm,
that's one aspect. Yeah.
Norb,
Yeah.
there's all that stuff, but look at what happened at St. John's Seminary for the last 8 years, 10 years, 12 years. Now that was one of the most conservative, backwards, sort of Christian Catholic seminaries in the nation. And our Michigan priests who went through that program, are warped in that fashion or selected in that fashion. There's a lot of backwards grooming that has developed that, and we're inheriting it. Optimistically, Leo is stepping down against that type of education of priests. It's that's not what the church is.
Where does Kalamazoo send their priests for theology now?
I don't know.
How about Lansing?
And I'm not involved directly enough. What's that, Sue? I don't know.
Okay. All of Grand Rapids now, before the theology, they all go up to St. Thomas up in Minnesota. And then for theology, they all go through Mundelein in Chicago. And they're all coming out the very conservative kind of, I don't know if they're getting into Latin that much, but it's very much.
It seems like that is exactly what's happening, that we're getting more and more conservative. And that really is one of the underlying things that we were talking a little bit about, the closing of St. Stephen's. Underlying that was one of the forces that drove closing the school was that they denied, the priest there denied a lesbian judge
Sarah Smolensk
sacraments, and said, and the parents in the school became incensed and started pulling all their kids out.
Oh, okay.
That happened? Whoa.
I remember that story.
When did that happen, Bill?
About
in the last 2 years.
That recently?
That recently, yeah.
The case with the judge, I thought that was 4 or 5 years ago.
Maybe. I don't think it's that long ago, but that's what it was. That was
I think it was
the reason that
COVID.
The school enrollment plummeted.
Okay. Yeah, I can believe that.
And then parish involvement plummeted.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned St. John's Seminary. Did you mean Sacred Heart?
Yes.
Because I think St. John's Provincial Seminary was progressive.
I had the wrong name.
It was
Sacred Heart. Yeah. Sacred Heart is the new Archbishop of Detroit. Bill, you may have read this too. He fired 3 professors at Sacred Heart.
Mm-hmm.
shortly after he was appointed Archbishop.
What do you guys think of him?
I don't.
I don't have
I
enough
think he's great.
information.
I've read very little, but what I've read sounds very, very good.
Dick, are you in that diocese, in Detroit diocese?
No, I'm in Lansing,
Oh, okay.
and St. John's has a great golf course.
Of course,
The course is called the Cardinal, I think now.
it's not St. John's anymore either.
No, I know, but they still. But there's
Right.
there's a chapel there because I went to a wedding where Cardinal Mooney it's named after him or something. It's still there. Some of that
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
it was a
nice
youth.
real estate. Pardon me?
It was a youth center for a while, but that didn't work
Maybe, I
either.
guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a conference center now, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right. It's golf course and conference center.
Okay. Okay. Good. Who owns it?
The diocese might own it yet. They might
They
get some
still?
revenue off of it. I don't know.
I thought they sold it.
Maybe they did. I don't know.
But
I
But they
think
kept
that,
the names.
The pizza guy bought it, didn't he?
Monahan?
Didn't
He might
Monahan
have.
buy
He
it?
might have.
Monahan?
he might have been
Yeah.
involved at some point, but right now it's the Pulte family
Oh no.
that set up a company to manage that whole thing down there. Now the Pultes, were their empire was in housing in the southeast Michigan area.
They're
And-
huge in Florida.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know that, Bill.
And, yeah, and one of the Pulte, well, the Pulte Family Trust or something like that, has taken over pretty much St. Anne's Basilica in Detroit and is really investing in restoring it and keeping it going as a church somehow. But anyway, that's the Pulte family. Another part of the Pulte family, they took over the St. John's. And in the last couple of days, you might have seen the Pulte family. One of the Pulte families is connected with the Trump administration's.
Yeah, that bum.
I can't remember exactly what the most recent thing is all about. I just sort of have tuned it out.
Well, they're trying to. It has to do with the fact that they get involved with loans for houses and stuff, and they're accused Bondi or whatever those clowns that are trying to look like important people are doing cheating, but some of them they're doing legitimate people. What's her
I
name?
think it was a woman on the Fed Board of Commissioners.
Yeah, right.
Get her fired.
Carpenter, is that her name?
She did.
Yeah.
Claim that she committed mortgage fraud.
Well, they also did Fannie in Atlanta. The woman, she was accused of that too.
Oh.
And they found the way they set up the mortgages and stuff. They were involved with that.
Could we pause here just for 1 second? I noticed, maybe some of you guys noticed that we had somebody named Tony Pruss.
Probably Tony Prusakevich.
Oh, okay. So could you identify? We can see your name, but your
He looks muted.
you're muted and your picture is not coming through. So, could you? Okay, I see. Okay, go ahead.
I'm on now.
Yes.
You are.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
No video though.
No video.
No videos. How do I get that? Let's see.
There should be a button. There should be
There's
a button
audio.
for video.
Just
There's
go-
what? Oh, here maybe. Let's see here. What?
Tony, are you on your phone or your computer? We lost audio.
We
We
turned
lost
it
Jerry.
off.
We lost Jerry Stein, did we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Tony, turn your mic on.
Tony was a year ahead of me at St. Joe's.
Okay, it's muted.
And so what
How
year
about
Oh,
is
he's
that?
he's back on.
Okay, I got that, but now I lost all my pictures. Let's see here. Let's see. Your video stopped. Oh, dang. I'm not the best at this stuff.
He's a lot younger than we are, isn't he?
Yeah.
Tony,
Yeah.
you're a mechanical genius.
Oh, here now I swung it sideways there. I got some action here. But still, you can't see me.
No.
Not yet.
How about now?
Ah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Okay, there you go.
We see the top of your head.
All right.
Okay.
Now you can turn the phone the other way.
This way.
There you go.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Well, okay.
We're in business.
Right.
Tony was a mechanical genius at St. Joe's and after he left the seminary as well. And then retired to become a potato farmer.
Yeah. In Johannesburg. You know where Johannesburg is?
South
South
Africa.
Africa.
No, North America. North
Where, in
America.
Michigan?
Yeah, North America.
In Michigan?
Yes.
It's a suburb of Gaylord.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
really?
where it is. I knew I saw that
How'd I
somewhere.
ever get a name like that?
How's that?
How'd I get a name like that?
What? Pruss cabbage?
No, Johannesburg.
Oh, Johannesburg. Well, that's originally that the Vanderbilts or the logging days. That was that Mr. Vanderbilt's wife's name was Johanna, and so
Oh, I see. Got it.
Wow, that's great.
yeah. Actually,
So-
the house that I got here, that I'm living in, or the farm that I bought, was part of the company farm. At that time,
Oh,
way back, and it was built in 1865.
wow.
Mm.
But
So-
yeah, I got some old pictures. There's a whole lot of history here at this place, but that goes
So-
back.
So tell us, where do you fit into the seminary, St. Joe's?
1970 graduation, 70.
Okay.
Graduated.
So you're one of the younger ones.
Yeah, yep, yeah. I'm like Jimmy there. Yeah, and but no, that's so yeah. Now I put raising potato. Well, I got just a half acre now, but I kind of retired from potato farming now. So
So how many tractors are you down to?
I think 23 maybe.
What? Are you serious? How many acres do you have?
How many acres did you used to farm, Tony?
Oh, I own about 700, but then I rented some too, here. So,
Okay.
but yeah. Matter of fact, a lot of them went to Spartan store down there in Grand Rapids
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
at the warehouse,
Mhm.
Yeah.
But through A.L. Johnson and Son, I don't know if you ever heard of them. They're in Leroy,
Mhm.
Michigan.
So in the time that some of us were at St. Joe's, we remember people like Tom Cabildus, who was sort of the guy in charge of the lawnmowers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So is that where you kind of felt in the maintenance department, or?
Yeah, I did that. I took care of the boilers.
Oh.
I had the keys to everything.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
along with
Bill Gebhard's job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
when you needed to get into someplace, you called Tom Cabildus because he was always carrying around a big ring of keys to just about everything in it. I remember that, and I always thought, boy, I liked it when he was riding on that lawnmower in the front of the building, and then in the fall it was the leaf mulcher that he. And I remember talking him into letting me do that one time. And of course, I ended up jamming the thing and having to locate him to come and get things running again. So,
Yeah.
So is Bill heading to Florida pretty soon?
Yeah, but this weather getting like this, it's getting
Oh.
closer and closer. I'm telling you. Yeah, I'm heading. I'll leave right after the holidays. January 2nd is my blast off date.
Oh, I'm glad you're having a little winter.
It's going to be bad tomorrow.
It's cold working at Habitat. I'll tell you that. We're trying to get a roof on a house right now, and it's a little slippery out there.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Battle Creek.
Aren't you kind of old to be getting up on a roof?
Yeah.
I still do it, and younger guys won't get up there, but I will. And
Very
yeah,
good.
They're going to make a movie about it. They're going to call it The Fiddler on the Roof. You know.
no, I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
You do a good job too.
So anyway, we're trying to get one closed in so that when I leave, at least I'll have a warm place to work during the winter on the interior.
Wow.
Do you guys remember Mark Kahns? He would have been a freshman when you were in your 6th year.
Name again?
Mark Kahns, Kahns. Tony would remember him.
I do. Yep. Yeah.
If you would keep Mark in your prayers. Mark has battled. He had cancer in his eye.
Oh.
He battled that for a number of years. Lost his eye, and the cancer's kind of resurged here recently. He's undergoing a procedure called Y90. I'm not familiar with it, but he had his last treatment of that, and he's having immunotherapy at the same time. His liver's not in good shape, and he's hoping to get in a clinical trial down at the University of Cincinnati Hospital. So he could really use your prayers if you wouldn't mind.
And Jim, you mentioned another guy that was in the first year of those of us who graduated the class of 66.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. His name was Phil France. He was in freshman and part of the sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
What about him?
Do you remember him, Pete? Because he is from either St. Sebastian's or St. John Vianney.
Yeah, his brother. I know his brother was an optometrist.
Yes, Paul.
Yeah. What happened
in
to
Grand
Phil?
Rapids?
Yes,
Byron
Grand Rapids.
Was there a St. Sebastian's? I mean, I remember.
Yes,
Byron Center.
Byron Center.
Okay, I remember St. John Vianney, but
that's Wyoming. Yeah.
Yeah, my parents are buried right across the street from there.
What happened to Phil?
Phil lost his wife maybe 3-4 months ago.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting. I mean, I did until I looked in the bulletin. That's a name that just kind of never surfaced, and I never knew the guy in the first year, and so that was kind of interesting. That I went back and looked at some of the old bulletins, and there his name was, but yeah, there were a couple of guys that didn't last much beyond the first year or the second year.
That was true for a long time.
Yeah.
But you don't remember the younger guys. When I was in 6th year, a bunch of you were in 1st year. I don't remember any of you. Sorry. I learned about you at the reunion.
Right.
That name seems familiar to me. Maybe he was at one of my tables in the refectory.
Phil France?
Yeah, Phil France. That I remember that name.
I remember him. Yeah.
Norb, it's sort of, I sort of feel like you. By the time, it seems like my experience was that you knew the people ahead of you. Like the class of 1961, I recognize all of those names, and I remember some of the running into you guys, and But the ones that came after us, we didn't pay, at least I didn't pay much attention to the people in the classes behind us.
Oh,
So
just
I don't know if that was true of the way things just kind of worked at the seminary. The leaders were the ones in the ahead of you, and the people in the classes coming up behind you were looking up to us.
right. That's what I remember. I mean, we're in sixth year. I was so busy doing the things that I needed to do and graduate. I didn't have time to learn all the people in the lower grades. You know, I did know quite a few of the guys in the class being below us.
Okay, yeah, same with us. I remember Dick Gallant, Larry Christensen.
Yeah.
And
Frank Unger.
Frank Unger, right?
You knew the whole class.
Yeah.
It was a tough role. It was a tough role.
Oh, you had a small class, huh?
You know, one thing I've never understood is, and we talked about earlier too, about the fact that the seminary kept attrition and everything, is why the bishop never went back and tried to find the people that had gone before. I mean, there was a seed there somewhere, and why they couldn't, you know, maybe they could be deacons and stuff like that. I could never figure out why they wouldn't encourage or, you know, be aggressive in that a little bit.
That's an interesting thought, Dick, because
Yeah.
Monsignor Moore, and I talked to him maybe a year before he died, and he said he had talked to Bishop Rose and said, you know, you need men to help you. He says, go ordain all the seminary students as deacons. He says they've had more than sufficient training to assume those roles.
Right.
But
because I know I can say that I had 7 years of training, and the deacons that we have at our parish, we have 2 of them, that I knew far more than they do. Not that, I mean, as far as the ceremonies and stuff like that. I mean, the education was so darn good. Why in heaven's name did you want to waste all that? That makes no sense to me. I mean, at least we can help out, maybe. It's all. I don't want to connote that we're superior to them, but I mean, it's just, at the same time, it's so, I don't know, very different.
That's an interesting question. So just among the ones that are right here, if you'd been asked to be a deacon, what would be your answer?
My answer?
Yeah, all of you.
I don't know.
I suppose it would have been when we would have been asked.
Right.
No, I agree with you, Bill. And I think that, you know, there have to be some conditions or something that would, because people would be in different stages. I mean, they may be married,
Right.
have children and things like that too, but still.
Right. Yeah, it would depend on when I was asked as well to answer my own question. Because at one time I was much more interested. Although I'm going to backtrack. I think in the 60s, I graduated in 61. Okay, so give you the right perspective. If I'd been asked in the 60s or early 70s, I would have said no. I wouldn't have wanted to be a deacon because I was done with the church. I mean, I'm saying that wrong. I was done with that kind of life. I was not done with the church. I've always been active in the church.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, there has to be some given, you know, thought through it. And it's not going to happen now. But I mean, why wasn't it?
Yeah.
You saw all that. I'll use the word talent or, you know, preparation and stuff, and they all walked out the door. That makes no sense.
There's also the former priests. They will not allow them or would not allow them to become deacons. You know, there are a lot of former priests that got married that are still very, very holy men and good people,
Right.
but
it's a
would
huge
not, our
waste
bishop
of
anyway, would not
talent.
let them be involved.
That's a good point, Pete. But it's just the whole preparation. You can see the difference. I mean, we were really blessed with what we got. I know it was rigorous, and I don't have any regret for it. But
there's another aspect to the answer. It goes along with what Pete said, I think. When I remember the first year, I started in 10th grade, and the opening remarks by Monsignor Felicki, who was the rector at the time, was, if you leave the seminary, if you quit the seminary, you will always be marked as an ex-seminarian. And the impression was lower than life. So why would they come after us and ask us to serve? They didn't even want to get anything to do with us.
Well, he had a lot to do with the downfall of, I think, the seminary. I mean, it was known as the Polish Military Academy and everything else. But
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And getting back to the new crop of priests and their knowledge of Latin,
Or lack of.
those that are interested in pursuing the old, I forget what the Latin Mass. I wonder whether the fact that they didn't have the kind of Latin schooling that we did, at least we knew what the words in Latin translated into. And I just wonder whether for those men today, whether they are just memorizing the wording without really comprehending, what it is that what they're saying. And getting back, sort of related to that is somebody mentioned the cards that when we were altar servers, we had those little cards that we had to memorize all of the wording that and the responses and so on. I still remember this was, when I was probably 6th grade.
I was in 5th grade.
Yeah. Well, anyway, my experience was I had to memorize what I was supposed to say in different. And in the intro, there was the Sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper. And so I would come home from school and go up and into my bedroom and memorize what those words didn't have any comprehension about what I was so upset about this. I would go down and I would recite to my mother what it was. And when it got to the Sicut, I said, "Souchet." And I suddenly realized I got that wrong. And I was so upset with what I had said that I just had to go back into my room and almost in tears.
I think the new priests who want to preach in our say Mass in Latin should also be required to recite the breviary every day in Latin.
Right.
Let them do that for a few years and see how much they love Latin. Yeah.
Yeah.
You raised a very good question, Bill. I wonder how many of these young priests understand the Latin, or if they just learned how to pronounce it like you did when you were a server. Same way I did before I went to the seminary. I learned yeah. Did you guys say the prayer before meals in Latin?
Gratias agimus, something like that.
Benedict Domine nos et hic tua dona quaede tui lagitate sumus sumpturi per Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen.
Yeah.
Bless us, Lord. I still remember that. Of course, now I went on like a fool, and I got a master's degree in Latin.
That's all right. I got a bachelor's degree from Michigan.
In Latin. Yeah. Anyway.
I got when I transferred from St. Joe's, I had to send my transcript on to Wayne State, and so what I got back was they gave me credit for all the Latin and Greek, and actually I have a minor in Latin and Greek from Wayne State. The conglomeration of, and I don't know whether if they really understood what they were doing. They said, "Oh, I see you got 2 years of Latin and 2 years of Greek, so we'll give you a minor in Latin and Greek." So
You got a summa cum laude, huh?
yeah,
When I was getting my master's in Latin at Illinois State, they were offering Greek as a second language, because trying to introduce that anyway to the student. I knew more Greek than what they were teaching.
I was going to say, did you teach? Seems like
I
they
did-
recruit you to teach.
I did some in a Greek class at one time. Yeah.
But when I transferred to the University of Michigan, they took Latin as my foreign language requirement.
okay.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that could be what I got too.
So who was a Latin professor at University of Michigan when you were there?
Cameron, his name was Don Cameron.
Okay, I'm thinking there's a
And there's a
famous.
guy named Buttry, and he was a numismatic guy. He studied coins. And there was a woman, Gertrude, somebody that was into teaching Latin. She wrote books on it.
Well, there was a professor of Latin. He wrote a textbook, and I can't think of his name. But I thought he was at Michigan. Maybe not. Maybe it was somewhere else.
Well, those are the ones I remember. I don't know, Mike might know.
You remember more than I do.
Oh, okay.
I do really well on Jeopardy questions.
How about
for you.
crosswords?
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. The other thing, and every now and then I'll digress and I'll say, explain the Latin or the Greek origin of a particular term, and she's like, "Oh, okay, here we go again."
Well, can't you see it? It's right there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you get a gyro, right?
So that's about as far as it went with me doing anything practical with the 2 years of Latin and Greek in college. So that would have put us at, we had 6 years of Latin and 5 years of Greek, plus the 2 years of Spanish. So in a way, she's kind of amazed that after all these years, I can remember some of these. Oh, did you know that came from?
You remember the where you were sitting in class when you learned that, probably.
Oh,
You know,
that reminds me. I saw something online in the last couple of days about pitching pennies. Now, do you remember guys who were, at least in our class of '66, the time that who's the Irish guy?
Hey,
Father Fay.
Hey,
Father Fay came into
Noel Fay. Yeah.
and we threw pennies at when he walked in the door.
Really?
And,
Yeah.
yeah. Who remembers that?
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't remember him doing that.
No.
And
But that
the thing is,
amazing.
what I remember is he got so upset that I don't know whether he just walked out of the room or something, and we didn't understand. I don't even know whose idea it was, but I never understood until this week about it. That was sort of a tradition in some of the old schools where you would throw a penny or a pence or whatever, a coin at the instructor, and that was considered a real insult. It was something you did only to people who were the lowest of the low in society.
I think he threw a eraser at Dennis Wasker once.
Yeah.
I think we can blame Jim Hannock for this. It sounds something.
I remember that Father Fay had such a tremendous voice that in
Mhm.
What do you call it, during the services at Good Friday, they were all sung in Latin. People would come just to hear him sing the Latin of the gospel or whatever they were singing because he was so good.
Now he's another one that he just vanished.
Well, he went to he was in our parish in St. Thomas, And I think he ended up in Oakland, California. I think he's passed, but
But what were the circumstances of him leaving? Did he leave your parish at the same time? He just vanished one day, and Monsignor.
I don't know. I don't know enough about that, but I'm just saying he was at our parish. Even
Yeah.
when he was in the seminary, he was still at St. Thomas. And
But-
it's interesting because the priest that's our pastor at St. Francis was educated at Maynooth, what he used to talk about, their seminary.
Yeah.
And there's certain patterns that I see that he does, that Father Fay does the same thing, did the same thing.
I'm glad you raised the question about Noel Fay's leaving, because when you brought up his name, that's the first question that came to my mind. He left mysteriously, I thought, but I never knew why. I guess we don't know.
Yeah. It seems like a while back I tried to do a Google search on him to see what the heck happened to him. And it's one of those. I guess I just never understood in general how priests from different parts of the world, especially in Europe, would come over and become involved in the Grand Rapids diocese. Recently, I saw a thing about one of the problems in the Detroit diocese was they were running into that problem of not having enough priests coming in through the ranks, and so they were just welcome. They were really receptive to getting priests from other parts of the world to come in and become part of the Detroit diocese. But they didn't. Now, I remember this. There's a term, Jim, that was used when a priest was sort of officially welcomed into a diocese. There was a term that was used that you had to be
Incarnated.
Yeah, right. So somewhere along the line, he would have had to have been incardinated. Is that what it? Into Grand Rapids diocese, and then assuming he didn't, that somehow wherever he went to next, he would have had to similarly been incardinated into that diocese. But I don't know. And this partly gets to the whole issue of abuse by priests and the diocese that they ended up being sent to. Do they do any kind of research or to see why he left the last diocese? I guess I never understood how that all took, and probably still does take place. I mean, when
you're getting into issues of canon lawyers, which the church operates under that legal system, and it makes a lot more sense if you understand the way it was written and the way it worked, as to applicability of the way we're trying to pull people together and get them to function as communities. Those are different questions, so to speak.
In incarnation, well, a priest cannot operate officially in a diocese without permission of the bishop.
That's right.
So that's on a positive.
And that's essentially what incarnation is.
Exactly.
The process has some checks and check-offs and so forth. requirements, but that's all there is to it.
Yeah, right. Basically, I'm sure
A little bit like getting married.
I would think all the bishop wants to know is he in good standing?
Well, I
And
think
why, why do you want to be in this diocese?
for Father Fay, I'm only guessing, but I don't really know, is that the pastor there, and have been for a long time, is Monsignor Raymond J. Sweeney, who is Irish. And I think that St. Thomas was kind of designated as an Irish parish. So I think that's might have been the reason he ended up there. I've never told or whatever, but that's one idea.
Wasn't Monsignor Sweeney at the seminary on the faculty?
No, but he every once in a while he'd come by. He was an older Monsignor. He was actually originally from Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
My mother knew his family when I grew up. Well, I was born in Mount Pleasant. She grew up in Mount Pleasant and knew him. And he was, then he came to Grand Rapids and became a priest. And he had been at St. Thomas for a long time too. Every once in a while he'd show up at the dinner table at at the seminary, St. Joe's.
Mm-hmm. I recall that there was a Sweeney on the faculty and during the Felicki era, and he was a really good pitcher, as I understand.
Well, I don't know, but he was a good athlete, I think. But I don't recall that he was, unless he walked. Maybe that's how he got the connection to St. Joe's. But I never knew he had taught at St. Joe's at all.
It could well be another Sweeney too, Dick.
Yeah.
Until I was at St. Joe's, I had never, in my limited life in Muskegon, run into a situation where a priest just vanished. Not in the parish that I was in. There might have been nearby parishes where a priest just up and left. But those
were
things
at St. Francis.
They were?
Yeah.
Oh, like who?
Jim Phelan, for one, he left and was married.
Oh, okay.
And I think Frank Meitner was another.
So I was really kind of shocked, or it was a new experience for me that Father Fay would just one day decide he wasn't going to be there anymore. I was always part of the old school. I was probably, you were school,
Committed.
Grand Rapids Diocese, and that's where your loyalties were going to be for the rest of your life. You didn't think about moving on to another diocese or doing something else in your life. So, and of course, I think at the time that Father, who was the alcoholic? Weisenkopf, right. I think at that time we were over in St. Henry's, and I remember looking out one morning from my room and seeing an ambulance, coming out but carrying somebody out the front door. And I think we might have figured out that it was his alcoholism that was the cause of it. But again, nobody, I can't remember anybody on the faculty, and certainly not Monsignor Morant, ever explaining what the heck happened to Father Weisenkopf. It just vanished, gone.
That's his way. That was his way.
Did you know at the time he was an alcoholic?
I don't remember, to tell you the truth.
I don't think I did, but I remember talking to my classmates afterwards, and one of them, I'm pretty sure, said that he came drunk to class one time.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when he pointed, he'd always point and his finger would be kind of twisted.
Oh, really? Okay. How about, speaking of faculty, how about Monsignor Martin? Do you know why he was at St. Joe's?
I remember I had him as a teacher.
But you know why he was teaching at Catholic University before he came to St. Joe's.
Well, he and Monsignor Shaw were classmates in the seminary.
The reason Martin was there is because he came back to Grand Rapids to be with his mother who was dying, or
Oh.
well, needed assistance. I think maybe not dying at the time,
Yeah.
but that's what I heard.
Well, he
And
was a canon lawyer, wasn't he?
right. Oh, he was. What I remember about him, he had five doctoral degrees.
Jeez.
One in church law, one in civil law, one in theology, one in let's see, scripture maybe. I'm not sure what the fifth one is.
I remember he had he taught the Latin class, and the whole class was in Latin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And then
Oh,
every once in a while, you'd hear somebody laugh. It was kind of weird because everybody was, like couldn't figure out what he was saying, and then that was the only person that got a joke. That's how we could tell if we were understanding anything.
That was probably the same year that I had him in sixth year, in an introduction to logic, and he taught it in Latin.
Yeah.
Wasn't that exciting?
Well, a funny thing that I recalled about him was when I was reading the old bulletins, Jim, and there was one issue that talked about the opening of the school year with, or maybe it wasn't the bullet, it could have been the recorder, talking about the school year started with this faculty member getting a new car over the summer. The thing I remember about Martin is he had apparently one of those little beetles, and he kept it forever. Apparently, I just imagining somebody like that riding around in a beetle, and hanging onto that thing, parking it in the garage. Seemed to me to be really hilarious. I try to visualize a scholar like that riding around in that car. Oh, jeez.
One thing I remember about Monsignor Martin, very favorable, was we had a class reunion several years afterwards, and we met part of the time at St. Henry's, and he came in and talked to us, and he said, "You are the future of the church."
Wow.
Yeah, I took that as a high compliment.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened to him after our era there? He must have gone, obviously there was a big turnaround in the late 60s, I think.
Well, he was a classmate of Monsignor Shaw.
Oh, was he?
Maybe he retired. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he and Shaw were like graduated from the seminary in 1935 or something like that.
And Senior Shaw taught my dad religion at Catholic Central in Grand Rapids one year.
So he's another one of those. I always kind of respected him as a scholar. He was just
he knew everything. I mean, as far as when you talk about what he knew in Greek, and the thing that I kind of felt maybe cheated on, he was so good, but when we translated the Odyssey, we never really talked about what the heck we were translating. And some of that stuff is a little risque in that, but I mean, he knew that stuff, and he would just open the book and start reading it, because he knew the how to scan, and he taught us how to do that. He really knew that. He really knew it. And Latin was the same way.
I still remember. Right.
That's the second line.
Oh,
That's how good he was. I mean, you never. The other thing is, I've never had anybody like him who used to give those tests, and he did it even when we started in religion. Number one, Norm, why are you scratching your head? Hurry up, get that done. Number two, and then he'd he did the same
On
thing in
finger
Latin.
saw.
He'd do it in Latin, and you had to get it. It really forced you to really be prepared because you couldn't screw around. The test was done in 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. He'd open the doors and number one, and he'd say, "Who is God?" You know, like number two, and he'd be talking to you, dormicest. You know, what are you sleeping for, dude? And he'd only repeat the question once. So you really had to know what the heck you were doing.
I don't remember that at all. But what I do remember is we translated Antigone in Greek class.
Well,
I don't know what year that was, but I remember I went to Aquinas after I left seminary and I took a course in Greek classics, and Antigone was one of them. And I said, "Oh, that's what it was about."
we did one of those too, one or two of them, I think. And what they did is that they were telling bawdy jokes at the start. Monsignor Shaw then didn't get into that, but the idea was that you wanted to think about like Jay Leno when he starts, he always talks about jokes because the people were being that were writing those things were being evaluated, and they were trying to sway the crowds. And that was a technique that that was used. Because you'd have all these funny words and stuff, and he never discussed that, but we would go through all that stuff. Ooh, that's weird.
Now, to say Shaw and body jokes in the same sentence,
That's a joke right there. Right?
stunned. You can't even think of
No.
those two concepts together.
I do remember the beginning of our Greek book. There was a picture of, I don't know if it was Venus, probably Venus. And the quote was, "What life, what joy without golden Aphrodite." And I thought, oh, that's a way to introduce seminarians to Greek.
Well, listen, guys, it's getting close to 9 o'clock now.
Right.
Let's take a look ahead at the next few months and what we might want to do and when to do it. Let's see if as usual, my calendar is on the wall and it doesn't have 1926 in it anyway. So,
Or 2026.
what did I say? 1926?
It did, yeah.
I live in the past.
Hey, Bill is listening.
Yeah. So what do you guys want to do about the future whenever that comes?
Back to the future.
We're back to the
Did the Wednesday work any better than Monday for people being able to participate?
Didn't work for me.
It's fine.
Yeah.
What about Jim Blanchard? Did you have something on Wednesdays that you?
No, it was just scheduling error.
Oh, okay. So you want to try it again on a first or second Monday of what? What are we in now? December? So skip January, February, March.
Why don't you do February?
All right. Who's got a calendar that has
What about
2026?
March 11th?
March
that a
11th.
Wednesday?
Yeah, it's second Wednesday.
That's a Wednesday, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, second Wednesday.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Did you want March or February?
Sorry, February.
Well, it's the same
I
thing.
stand corrected. Thanks.
Yeah.
So it's February 11th.
I don't think Lent starts in just before Valentine's Day.
Well, yeah, Lent starts the 18th.
Okay.
Not that it matters probably to us, but
We're
I mean, to
starving
the-
for
to
knowledge
the-
anyways, right? We're starving for knowledge.
Wherever it comes from.
Yeah.
All right, so I will put that down and hopefully I will find my note to myself. I always can go back. Oh, that reminds me. I mentioned in one of the last session or one of the last updates that we record these meetings. And every meeting that we have participated or had in the last couple of years is on YouTube. So if you ever get stuck and want to have a good boring night, just go back and take a look at what we were talking about over the last couple of years. So usually what I do is I get done with this, and if I still am able to navigate that evening, I will download this video session into a movie format, MP4, and then I will go in there and kind of edit some of the sort of the intro time that we spend a few minutes trying to figure out how to get things running. Sometimes I'll just leave that in because that's part of the existence. And then I usually just make a sort of a summary of who attended and send it out to the guys who participated in that, just in case you wanted to have that available. And then I put it up on the Alumni website, and from there I put it into the Alumni update. I will also, in the chronological order, I will try to put it into the front page of the homepage of the website, so that people who just stumble into there can actually see what we've been up to. I was really amazed that the guy from, and I apologize for not remembering his name, the guy from 78 and 79.
Was it Doug France or something like
Yeah,
that?
right.
All France?
He actually found me because he went into the website and sort of poked around until they could figure out who to get in touch with. That's kind of like how I got involved, was discovering Norb's book, and I thought, I know that guy. And so I got in touch with Norb, and that's when you said, "Oh, we're going to have this get together." And so that's how I ended up getting hooked up with this.
That's right. I forgot. Thanks, Bill. We talked before the reunion, didn't we?
Right.
Okay. I'd forgotten that.
That was back when we were just trading email messages.
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
you're doing a great job. Hey, quick question. How many of the annual bulletins are on the website?
Oh,
wait. No, that's not the question I want. How many of the recorders?
Geez, I have to go and take a look at. We've got, in the area of the bulletins, we've got a pretty thorough accounting from I think starting like in the mid 30s. Does that sound familiar to you?
Wow.
The bulletin?
The
No, I
bulletin.
think the bulletin, we have it from the early 50s, I believe.
Jeez.
Right, and then we found some of the old ones, a couple of early editions of it that went back into the couple of the early years. But then it was Bill and Angela tracked down all those things, and all the ones that could be found, I think, have been found. So there's a few years in there where things got kind of, no records just were never saved or whatever, or some of those came about from, it all started actually with Frank Barfia. in our class sending me the bulletin for when our class was listed in there. So that would have had to have been the second year, whatever that was. But anyway, he's the one that actually piqued my interest in the whole bulletin thing. So it came about because of a member of our class. Frank
And
also.
there was actually a publication prior to the recorder. I forget the name of it,
Right.
but
Yeah, it's in my book. I don't remember the name either.
showed me some of the copies, and I think it went back to the 20s.
Wow.
Right. Yes.
So there are those that are out there, but we haven't scanned any of those to this point.
Yeah. There was, I think, in the 20s, and then the 30s, they didn't produce any for a while. And then the recorder, when they finally changed the recorder, I could be wrong though. Maybe there was one all the way through.
Yeah, I think
couldn't say Norb.
I think, Jim, part of the problem was they were the ones that the early ones, whatever they were called, were all bound copies.
Yes,
And so it's not,
it's
Oh,
difficult
right.
to scan those.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
we got some contributed by alumni who happened to have some of these, and they would send them along to either to Jim or to me to be scanned and added. But the bulk of them, it gets back to, I think, Denny Murrow that saved all of these things or tucked them away and kept them from being tossed out. And
Denny pulled a lot of stuff out of the dumpster when they were closing St. Joe's.
yeah.
Wise move.
Yeah.
Did you answer my question about the recorder? How many of those are online?
We've got. I would. There's a section of the website with those, the ones that we've been able to find.
If I had to guess, there were most of them from the mid 50s on until the early 70s, Norb. Most
Wow,
of them,
that's
not
great.
all of them.
That's great. Because that's what I used in person. My wife and I went to Grand Rapids and she read them to me. And I selected what I wanted and copied those and came back here. She spent a lot of time working on this book too, because by the time I started writing that, I had lost my vision. So even now, I would have a problem reading the website. Well, it'd be easier than in person. But
Right.
my technology doesn't read PDF very well. And that's what those are all. They're all in PDF, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why earlier when I offered, if somebody's interested in gathering more information, we can revise my book and put out a new one.
I remember, it seems that when you made that offer a while back, I may have put a text version of your book online. I have to go back and double check.
I think you did. I think I gave you permission to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember looking at that because there were some times that I couldn't. I had to flip back and forth between the printed document and so yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. So, anything else that we want to?
Well, Bill, I just want to say that appreciate all your work, but I also
Yeah, thanks.
grateful
Thank you.
and your health seems to be going the way it should. So
Yeah.
may the Lord bless you on that. And I wish
thank you.
everyone a happy holiday and Merry Christmas and a good New Year. Thank you to all.
And for you too as well.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Yep.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And likewise for me. Thanks a lot for everything that everybody has been doing over the last few years and keeping in touch and spreading the word. So, signing off for the night.
Okay, goodbye,
Thanks,
guys.
Bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye, Jimmy.
Okay. This is our next